Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating and, frankly, deeply complex topic that touches basically every single part of our modern digital lives: the dark side of AI. We hear about artificial intelligence constantly, right? How it's writing code, diagnosing diseases, practically running our schedules for us. But today, we're actually not focusing on what AI can do. Instead, we're taking a hard look at how it is actually made. I want you to listen to this incredibly revealing perspective coming straight from within Silicon Valley. Quote, "It's sort of like we've just discovered a new continent with 100 billion people on it, and they're willing to work for free for us." Wow. I mean, it sounds like absolute magic, doesn't it? This idea of a limitless, entirely automated, completely unpaid workforce just waiting to serve humanity. But we really have to juxtapose this staggering, highly polished illusion against the gritty reality of what actually powers all of our modern digital conveniences. Which brings us to the central question of this explainer. Are artificial intelligence systems really artificial, or are they made of blood and sweat? Well, we're about to pull back the curtain, because you see, beneath these super sleek interfaces of your chatbots, your voice assistants, and self-driving cars, there's a massive, incredibly messy, and very human-powered reality going on. Section 1. The invisible human workforce, peeking behind the curtain of automation. Now, what's really interesting here is that the word autonomous makes it sound like a machine is just thinking entirely on its own. But the truth? Autonomous AI actually relies on an enormous, intentionally concealed workforce of real, living human beings. And what's truly staggering is this number: 430 million. According to a recent report from the World Bank, this is the upper estimate of global data workers currently fueling AI worldwide. Let that sink in. 430 million people. AI isn't just a bunch of clever code floating around in the ether. It's quite literally built on the daily, grinding labor of hundreds of millions of people. So, what do those workers actually do all day? Let's walk through the actual process. It's an industry called data annotation, and it is highly, highly repetitive. Step 1, you view an image of a penguin. Step 2, you mark 4 points of water in the background. Step 3, you click submit. And that's it. That is literally how you train an AI model. It takes these massive abstract concepts and grounds them into the most mundane, everyday tasks imaginable. Think about it. If a self-driving car needs to know what a shrub looks like versus, say, a pedestrian, a human data worker has to manually click and label that shrub thousands and thousands of times. And who exactly is doing all this clicking? Let's consider the profiles of the actual workers fueling this ecosystem. Over in Finland, we have a female prison inmate making as little as €3 a day. Or look at Bulgaria, where a displaced refugee might make about $9 a day for completing dozens and dozens of tasks. What's happening is that tech platforms specifically target populations in crisis, often outsourcing this labor to the global south. They look for people with very few options. These workers are paid barely enough to survive the day, which keeps them totally trapped in a cycle of poverty, while they are simultaneously building billion-dollar technologies for someone else. And this brings us to a much darker aspect of the industry. Section 2. The toxic data toll. The very real human cost of a clean algorithm. Because the reality of labeling data isn't just about identifying penguins or clicking on trees. To make AI safe for everyday consumers like us, someone actually has to sift through the internet's darkest corners. Listen to the very real experience of Fine Makira, a data worker based in Kenya. Quote, "I used to have nightmares. I developed anxiety. It kind of led me to depression, and that is why I decided to quit." You see, for an AI to learn what not to imitate, things like extreme violence, abuse, or deeply disturbing scenarios, it must be fed that data first. And before the AI ever sees it, human beings like Fine must spend hours physically reviewing the absolute worst, most toxic content on the internet. The reality of these working conditions is just incredibly grim. These workers are subjected to highly disturbing content on a daily basis. And to keep this whole operation hidden, they're forced to sign incredibly strict non-disclosure agreements. The psychological fallout here is severe. We're talking PTSD, anxiety, and severe insomnia being incredibly common. And what happens if these workers try to protect themselves by unionizing? They face immediate termination. It highlights a deeply concerning colonial dynamic where wealthy Western companies are essentially outsourcing their digital garbage to be cleaned up by vulnerable workers. And this brilliantly illustrates our next point. Section 3, the hidden environmental costs. Let's look at the physical weight of the digital cloud. The toll of AI isn't just human, it's profoundly ecological. We really have to dismantle a massive myth right now. The cloud is not a fluffy white thing up in the sky. The cloud is a massive physical warehouse filled with servers that consume absolute astronomical amounts of water and electricity. Every single time you generate a funny image or ask a chatbot a quick question, that prompt requires immense processing power. It directly contributes to carbon emissions, climate change, and severe resource depletion. Our invisible digital world actually has a very heavy, very physical footprint. To see exactly what that footprint looks like, we just need to consider the raw materials required. We're talking copper, gold, cobalt, nickel, lithium, tungsten, and rare earth minerals like neodymium and lanthanum. To manufacture the complex chips that power AI, the tech industry is literally gobbling up gargantuan quantities of metals straight from the bowels of the earth. We are excavating our planet at an entirely unprecedented rate just to keep these massive data centers running. Section 4, the ideologies driving AI, the philosophies justifying the collateral damage. So, how do the creators of AI actually justify this massive human and environmental toll? What exactly is their mindset? Well, it largely stems from something called TESCREAL. Now, TESCREAL is an acronym that stands for an influential cluster of Silicon Valley ideologies, things like transhumanism and long-termism. Simply put, this elite belief system prioritizes a technologically augmented, space-colonizing future over our present-day human costs. From this perspective, the suffering of workers in the global south or the rapid depletion of natural resources today, well, it's just viewed as an insignificant drop in the ocean compared to the utopian future they believe they are building for humanity thousands of years from now. And the ultimate prize, the holy grail of this ideology, is AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. This is a hypothetical AI system that would equal or even exceed human cognitive abilities across the board. The desperate race to build AGI is the primary driver for these tech companies. They truly believe AGI is going to solve all of humanity's problems. And because they believe that so strongly, they are willing to push forward at breakneck speeds, often completely ignoring historic lessons about the real-world harms of unchecked technology. Now, this rapid expansion is also deeply intertwined with political landscapes. As researcher James Muldoon points out, shifting political winds can act as massive accelerants for these corporations. He notes, quote, "The election of Donald Trump was a real boon for the tech sector. We can really expect that the tech sector is going to benefit immensely. What researchers are observing neutrally here is that specific policy environments and powerful administrations can further consolidate the wealth and unchecked influence of these major AI companies, allowing them to scale even faster without as much regulatory friction." So the crucial point is, Section 5, who pays the price? Confronting the true cost of our convenience. We've looked at the raw materials, the hidden human labor, and the driving philosophies. Now we really need to pull all those threads together. On one side of the coin, we have the Silicon Valley promise, right? A clean, automated technological paradise aiming to cure diseases and optimize all of humanity. But on the other side, we have the supply chain reality. And that is a system fundamentally built on the aggressive extraction of our natural resources, heavily reliant on severely underpaid, often deeply traumatized human labor. It is just a profound disconnect between the utopian marketing we are constantly sold and the stark physical facts of production that we've just uncovered. Which leaves us with one final, very provocative question to consider. After the workers of the global south are exploited, the mines dug, the rivers dried up, and the atmosphere heated up, who will be the future victims in the belly of AI? I really want you to think about that the next time you type a prompt or ask your smart device a question. The technology in our pockets is undeniably incredible, but understanding its true cost